story, the Philippines and Serbia are joining a slew of central banks that are increasing their gold holdings. They follow a global trend of other central banks accumulating bullion in a move seen as a shift away from the US dollar as a standard. And this global trend, by the way, was led by Russia and China. So what does it really mean? Well, there are few people who know more about gold than Peter Schiff. And he is good enough to join us now with his take on this. Peter, why are countries doing this? And I guess it bears asking, right? As an American, what does this mean? What does this mean to me? What does it mean for us?
Well, I think it means a lot for Americans because we have enjoyed the extraordinary privilege of being able to create out of thin air the reserve currency. And, before the dollar was the reserve, gold was the reserve. And the reason that the dollar became the reserve is because it was as good as gold. Because the dollar was not only backed by gold, but redeemable in gold. In fact, the dollar was gold. It was Federal Reserve notes that were IOUs for dollars, which were made of gold. And we went off the gold standard in 1971, but I think the world is going to go back on it. Because I think the days where the dollar is the reserve currency are numbered, and we're going back to basics. Everything old is new again. Gold was money in the past, and it will be money again in the future. And central banks that are smart enough to read that writing on the wall are increasing their gold reserves now.
Well, if we don't have gold and we stay with something like what we have now in the United States, we're then able to manipulate currency in such a way so that we can, for example, print money when we're in the middle of a recession or worse. If we go to the gold standard, for example, if it becomes global and we have to end up accepting it ourselves, that would not be good for us, right? In terms of getting out of these sticky wickets we've been in, like in 2008.
Well, first of all, the only reason we get into those sticky wickets is because of the Federal Reserve. So the Federal Reserve lights the fire and then pretends to put it out. If we go back on the gold standards, we take the matches away from the Fed. So they can't light the fire, so there's nothing to put out. Gold and economic freedom go hand in hand. And if you don't believe me, just ask Alan Greenspan, because he authored an article, Gold and Economic Freedom, which I would recommend that people read. But, gold is the enemy of the welfare state and big government. That's why governments don't like gold. They want paper. But the problem is eventually the paper has no value. And we are headed to a currency crisis in the United States. And what's going to put the United States back on a gold standard is to try to stop the free fall of the dollar. They're going to postpone it as long as possible. When Nixon took us off the gold standard, he said it was temporary. He was right, it was temporary, but it just lasted a lot longer than people thought.
Because of what the Dow's done this month, because of what we saw.
All right, shalom. This is Chanak's by Yashar Allah from the GMS Lions and Camp. First and foremost, I'd like to say Kahalayim, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Havakakwadash Mama. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Archim that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so there you have it. The world wanting to revert back to a gold standard. So it's going to force America to have to revert back to a gold standard. But before they do that, they got to create a new system. And that system is going to be the RFID chip, more than likely. All right. So you're witnessing the depreciation and the destruction and the disappearing of the American dollar, which was the number one source of currency used in the trade market. All right, but it wasn't worth anything. All right, it wasn't worth. It was just paper. The more dollars you collect, the more debt you collect. All right, because you can't turn it in and get the same thing in gold. So all it is just IOU notes. Okay. So by they scamming the people, with their witchcraft and sorcery, making the people feel like the dollar's worth something, they just bullshitting the people, just like how they used to do back in the day. All right, you had like how they used to weigh shekels and stuff of gold and silver. All right, they used to weigh them on scales, so they wouldn't have to count them out. They would just weigh them on the balance, right? But you have people that were modifying the balances and rigging them, right? You know, and so to come up over the people, all right. This is Proverbs 11:1. It says, "A false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is His delight." All right, and you can use that scripture's twofold. All right, a false balance in the mind is an abomination. Also, a false balance when you trying to create a false balance like a scale to rob the people, like how America was doing, robbing people of their resources and giving them paper money that doesn't even amount to anything. All right, but the Most High is putting judgment on America, man, and for all the iniquity and the sorcery and the witchcraft that they've been putting on the people, man, and really deceiving the people, because that's what Esau was set up to do, deceive them. And who's the top one of Esau? Top place is America. All right, America is the poster child for Esau. Okay, this is Nahum chapter 3, verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city! It is full of lies and robbery. The prey departeth not." So, because we still here stuck in captivity. All right, in this bloody city. This is how this town was built, off iniquity and off of bloodshed. It says, "The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and the pursuing horses and of the jumping chariots, the horsemen lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain and a great number of carcasses." All right. And some of those carcasses belong to the children of Israel, but it's gonna be like really real carcasses here. Pretty soon, man. People gonna start killing each other when this economy crashes. All right. It says, "Because of the multitudes of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft," and that's what America's all about, man. That's what Esau's all about, really. "That selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts." All right, and the whole dollar system was a sorcery and a witchcraft, man. That's part of the whoredoms of Babylon, which is America. It says, "Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, power of hosts, and I will discover thy skirts upon thy face, and I will show the nations thy nakedness and the kingdoms thy shame." And that's what he's doing right now. When everybody turning away from the dollar, and then America, as soon as somebody turns away from the dollar, they go in and bomb some stuff and kill people and try to change the regime. But the Most High is exposing all the nakedness and the wickedness of America, man, of so-called white men, which is the devil. All right. It says, "And I will cast abominable filth upon thee, and make thee vile, and will set thee as a gazing stock." And America's a gazing stock right now. Everybody's watching America to see when all these countries are going to finally just give in and start bombing this place, like Nineveh was a gazing stock. It says, "And it shall come to pass that all they that say, Nineveh is laid waste, who will bemoan her? Hence shall I seek comforters for thee. Art thou better than the populous? Know that was saturated among the rivers that had the waters round about it, whose rampart was the sea, and her wall was from the sea. Ethiopia and Egypt were her strength, and it was infinite. Put in Laban were thy helpers." So basically, you know what I'm saying? That in the present day, that's America. That's the Most High asking America, "Are you better than whoever the powerhouse really was then?" Really kind of Great Britain, because um, Great Britain established America, and all that comes from Greece and Rome. Um, but all the kingdoms that were before America, the Most High is asking, "Do you think you're better than them? Like I use you to take them down, you know?" All right. It says, verse 10. It says, Yet was she carried away, she went into captivity. Her young children also were dashed in pieces at the top of all the streets, and they cast lots for her honorable men, and all her great men were bound in chains. That's what's going to happen in America, man. That's exactly what's going to happen here. All right. It says, "Thou also shalt be drunken; thou shalt be hid; thou also shalt seek strength because of the enemy." All right. And America's going to be seeking strength from the allies, which is NATO, but everybody's going to turn and hate the whore, man. All right. "And all thy strongholds shall be like fig trees with the figs ripe. If they be shaken, they will even fall into the mouth of the eater. Behold, thy people in the midst of thee are women. The gates of thy land shall be set wide open unto thine enemies. The fire shall devour thy bars." Because really America's missile defense system really can't stand up against Russia or China or North Korea or Iran, especially not at all at once. All right, and then you have the upper elites, the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, and all the 13 elite families. They're pushing for this war because they're funding both sides of the war, and that's how they make money. They're giving this last final push before they enter in the New World Order. All right, they're going to try to implement that chip, and then they're going to send the missiles. Okay. All right, verse 14, it says, "Draw thee waters for the siege, fortify thy strongholds, go into the clay and tread the mortar, make strong the brick kiln." All right, so there's another point I wanted to get real quick. All right, let me skip down to verse 19. It says, "There is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee, for upon whom hath not they wickedness been passed continually?" So basically that was a question right there. So everybody's gonna be clapping and rejoicing for America falling, man. And for America continually using witchcraft and beguiling and deceiving these other nations and taking them out of taking their resources from them. All right, I went a little bit too long on that one. Next scripture I want to get is James chapter 5. And I'm not gonna make this is too long. All right, this is James chapter 5. It says, Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupt, and your garments moth-eaten." All right, so mainly that's talking about the so-called white man, but America is the poster child for the so-called white race, which is Edom, which is the devil. All right, so the money is corrupted. The money is corrupted, and the garment is moth-eaten. There's holes all in their garments, and the Most High is going to lift up the skirts, the holy garments of this devil. Your gold is cankered. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped up treasures together for the last days. All right. So America living in delight and wanton and delicacy is over, man. All right. It says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers which have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them have reaped and entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." All right, to the Lord of armies, man. All right, so the Most High, Yahweh Shem Al-Shai, hears the cries of the prisoners that are kept in this prison house, which is America. All right. "Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your heart as in a day of slaughter." All right, and that's just it. And this is the day of slaughter for America, man. America's going down. That's just it. As a matter of fact, let me get Quick one, real quick. This is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 6. It says, "Shall not all these take up a parable against him, a taunting proverb against him, and say, Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay." And America has that word clay right there means debt. And America is in big debt. All right, so it's time for this place to go, man. And the Most High is setting it up according to his will. Let me get one more scripture and close it out. All right. This is Revelation chapter 18. All right. Verse 3, it says, "For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of the fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies." And what was one of the major delicacies was the American dollar was a delicacy. Everybody was buying into the American dollar, man. I think it was either Italy or France were one of the first ones to buy into America, right around World War II, I think. Verse 4, it says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. For her sins have reached unto the heaven," just like how we read before, her sins have reached to the Lord of Sabaoth, the cries of the laborers that are in the prison houses. "And Yahweh hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works. The cup which she hath filled, fill it her to her double." And that's what the children of Israel go do, putting these so-called white men in slavery, man. But these other nations are going to do that to America. How America is stolen from all these other nations, they're going to get some get back. They're going to spoil America, man. And that's that shit. That's the crumbling of the American dollar. And the American dollar in the military, the petrodollar in the military is the only thing that's holding the United States together, man. Without that, when you see the military depreciating, they're talking about the missile defense system is trash. Obama did a whole bunch of military budget cuts. All right, and the only thing America really has is NATO, and NATO's going to end up turning on America. With that being said, I'd like to say, Kal Halayim La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakakodash Ma'amah. Double honors to the elder apostles, the great millstone, and salutation to the archie that are pushing the truth and sincerity and truth, and peace and blessing to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Shalom.